Hey guys, what's up? A lot of you are asking questions in the comment section or sending us emails asking me to talk about my educational story and how I got a place at Oxford for my undergrad and masters. So today is that day and I'm being interviewed, so hopefully you enjoy this and it's useful. Let's go.
Sunny, how did you decide that you wanted to apply to Oxford?
To be honest with you, I knew this in my last 2 years of school and I didn't really know why, but it was just something cool and sort of trendy and prestigious. And I thought that it would be great to try and go study there. But I didn't, in honesty, didn't really understand what I was getting into.
And what subject did you pick and why?
So I applied to study material science, which at the time was a 4-year course and it's an integrated undergraduate and masters. And I picked it because I came to Oxford for an open day and I went to a material science talk. I was doing maths, physics, further maths and chemistry A-levels at school and I was enjoying those. And material science is a combination of all of those subjects. And I thought, looks good, looks interesting, really trendy. There was a lecture that was talking about how material scientists create sort of jet engines and, work a lot in industry. And I just thought it was a really cool space to be in. So yeah.
And can you just give us an idea of the steps that you took in order to prepare for the application?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, the first thing that I did was a lot of online research. So I signed up for open days, not just at Oxford, but at other universities as well. And I actually went to those open days and talked to current students and professors. I also reached out to some current students I found on Facebook and just asked them, like, what did you do? What worked for you? What would be your advice? What are your recommendations? So did those and then did a ton of online research, found past interview questions. I found examples of personal statements for not necessarily for material science, but for engineering and for physics, which are related subjects that are fairly close. And so I found what people who got in before me did, and I didn't necessarily copy them, but I tried to it helped me to understand what the university was looking for. And then I just spent a lot of time on that, on the personal statement, with maybe making 10, 15 drafts, worked a lot on interview prep, and was just trying to do my best at school.
And from your experience, what did you do to improve your chances?
So I think the best thing that I did was I had a list of former, past interview questions for engineering, physics, and for material science. And I basically, sounds a bit weird, but just every night before going to bed for half an hour, 40 minutes, I would argue with myself. Well, I would ask a question and I'll try and solve it. And I'll try to critique myself and push myself in that direction. And that was something that I found really helpful. I had a friend as well from school who was also applying to Oxford. And so we used each other to bounce off interview questions against each other and argue with one another because he was applying for engineering. So that helped. But to be honest with you, a lot of it I just did on my own. So it was a lonely few months, but it was definitely worth it.
And what are your top 3 tips for applicants applying now?
Well, if you're applying now to Oxford, you have to consider what are the data points that the university will see. And so the number one thing they see is your UCAS application with your name, date of birth, and basic information. The number 2 thing they'll see is your personal statement. And it's very, very important that personal statement is unique, exciting, interesting, and really shows that your passion for the subject. Number 3 thing they see is your teacher's reference. And whilst you can't write the reference for the teacher, you can make an effort to be a good student, to be on your teacher's radar, to build a relationship with that teacher before making an application. So what a lot of students do is in September, a month before making an application, they tell the teacher, oh, by the way, I want to apply to Oxford and please endorse me. It doesn't work as well. So what I would recommend doing is starting this a year early, telling the teacher, look, this is what I want to do and what are the steps that you would recommend taking, and so that you get on their radar and they know and they can write in your reference that this is something you've been really committed to for a while. Once you have that, for Oxford, you will have, for material science and for many subjects, an extra test, such as TSA, Thinking Skills Assessment, or PAT, Physics Aptitude Test. That test this year, in 2020, is done on the 4th or the 5th of November, so you can do the best you can on that test. Your school will also give you predicted grades and also show information about what are the average results for your GCSE, A-levels, IB, or whatever qualification system you may come from. What are the average results for your school in the previous years? and this will help Oxford and other universities to evaluate you. And lastly, there is the interview, and so you need to do the best you can in the interview. So if you consider that as an equation of what makes the Oxford application, then you need to work on all of those input points for the application. But as kind of as 3 takeaway tips is, number 1 is to start planning early. Number 2 is to get really good with time management. And number 3, just to be committed and to see this through and not to give up when it gets boring, which it will.
Thanks very much, Sunny.
Thanks.